Hi everyone, Jesse here with etrailer. Today we'll be taking a look at, and I'll show you how to install the Roadmaster Universal Diode Kit on our 2018 Ford Flex. Diodes are going to be necessary when you're setting up your vehicle for flat towing. It's going to keep you safe and legal out there on the road. What they do is they'll send a signal from the motorhome to the back of your towed vehicle to make your lights work correctly. That way other drivers know what you're doing, whether you're using your turn signal, your brake lights, or just your tail lights. The diodes themselves are going to be tough to see right now. You'll see them when we get to the installation portion of the video, but they're tucked behind our tail lights here. And what the diodes do is protect your factory wiring. It'll prevent any back feeds or anything else that might damage that wire. And here's your 6-pole, which is where you will hook up to your motorhome through an umbilical. And the diodes are just one of what we call the 5 main components of flat towing. To stay safe and legal out there, you will also need a base plate, safety cables, a tow bar, and a braking system. Also, with the Ford Flex, Ford does recommend that you use a battery disconnect in order to shut off the battery while it's being flat towed. When it comes to setting up your vehicle for flat towing, there is a lot to take in and it's hard to keep track of everything. So if you have any questions or concerns about flat tow setups, reach out to us. We do these things every day. We know a lot about them, and we'd be happy to help you get pointed in the right direction. As for the installation with the diodes, it does involve running wires from the front to the back of the vehicle, and you're also most likely installing other flat tow components at the same time. So I understand if you're not looking to do that yourself, check out our dealer locator. You can find someone local to you that would be happy to get this set up for you. If you are looking to see how these get installed, then follow along and I'll walk you through the process. So to begin our installation, you'll want to find a mounting point for your 6-pole. Our base plate is the Roadmaster custom fit base plate, which actually has a mounting point on it. So what I did for now is just taped it up there, left some slack so we have some wire to work with. Then from there, we got to route this up into our engine bay, so just tuck it back behind everything. And then once we got here, I did leave a loop just for some extra wire in case you're installing a braking system that you need to tie into. And then what I've done is I cut our white wire here and I started to peel it back because what we'll do is ground off in the engine bay here. And then with the rest of the wire, I'll peel it off, separate it from our other 3 wires. We use that as a jumper between the driver's side tail light and the passenger side. But with this ground, I'm just going to strip it off and then crimp on a ring terminal, and I'll attach it to our negative post on our battery. We're just going to connect it here where we already have an existing ground wire tied in, and that's a 10mm bolt or nut. So with our remaining 3 wires, we'll want to send those down so we can take them back to our tail lights. So right behind the strut, there's a nice little pocket that you can send it down. It'll come out somewhere around here with these AC lines. And our main goal is to stay away from any hot or moving parts. So at this point, I want to rub that subframe bracket there. And then I followed this wiring and parking brake cable back. That's going to bring us up around our fuel tank and above our subframe here in the back. And at this point, what we did was separated our yellow and brown wire from the green wire. Our green wire is going to go to our passenger side tail light. The yellow and brown will go up to our driver's side. We need to get our tail lights removed. So there's going to be 2 8mm bolts holding them in. Get those removed. And you'll see ours is looking like it's going to come out pretty easy, but it's not always the case. Let's see how easy it is. So you see there's 2 clips here that are holding it in. Sometimes you have to fight them, sometimes they'll pop right out, it just depends. Then from there, you see our wiring may look a little different than yours because we have some aftermarket trailer wiring. It's going to disconnect the same. There's a pin right here. Just push in on it. and separate that from the plug, and we'll set our taillight aside. Now what I did was I cut back some of this electrical tape just so we can access our wires, and then I unplugged our trailer wiring so that I could test and figure out what wires do what. So what I did was turn the taillights on, use the test light. I found out that the purple and white wire is our taillight signal, so I cut that and crimped on 2 of our spade connectors. And then for our brake and turn signal, it's this gray and what looks like brown striped wire. And we'll do the same thing with that wire. Just cut it. You want to cut pretty far back so that we have room to tuck our diodes away. Strip both ends and we'll crimp those spade terminals on. So I brought our brown and yellow wire up inside the tail light pocket here, and also don't forget the white wire, because you notice you have one different colored spade terminal with your diodes. That's because we're going to combine the brown and the white. So I just stripped them a little longer than I normally would, twist them around each other, then we'll crimp that into that yellow connector. We'll crimp a regular spade terminal onto the yellow wire, plug that into the in side of our diode, along with the gray and brown wire. And then the end of our gray and brown factory wire that's closest to the plug will go on the outside. Similar concept with our taillight one, but remember we have the white and brown that'll plug into the in. And once again, the wire furthest from the plug goes in the in. The one closest to the plug goes in the out. Similar concept on the passenger side here, except for the brake and turn will be this purple and orange wire, but the taillight signal stays the same, purple and white. So at this point, I'm going to loosely install our taillights, then we'll get our 6-pole hooked up so that we can test and make sure everything's working. Hooking up our 6-pole is pretty simple. Make sure that you slide the boot on first. I've forgotten that before. Once you slide it over the wiring, what you want to do is just come in, back off these Phillips screws, and you don't want to take them all the way out. They're pretty difficult to find if you drop them. But then this is the TM, so that's tail marker, that's our brown wire. So what I'll do is push our strip back wire down in there and tighten that Phillips screw. That's going to be our contact. So same concept with the rest of the wires, but the colors are different, of course. GD is white, that's our ground. LT is yellow, that's for left turn. And RT is green, that's our right turn. Now we've hooked up our test box to make sure everything's working. You could, of course, do this with your motorhome if you have to, but we just want to test it before we hit the road. So I'll run through all of our lights. This will be our tail lights, left turn, brake lights, and our right turn. Once everything's tested and we know it's functioning properly, I'd recommend just filling up your terminals with some silicone and backfeeding it with some more silicone. You definitely want to keep that water out of there. But otherwise, other than finishing up some of your other flat toe components, that's going to do it for our look at and installation of the Roadmaster Universal Diode Kit on our 2018 Ford Flex.